Ever wonder why some people seem to attract wealth while others struggle their entire lives? Why it feels like money flows easily into some hands, while for others, it slips through their fingers no matter how hard they work? It's not just about how much you earn or even how much you save. It's not luck, and it's certainly not talent. The truth is, wealth is built on habits. Simple, consistent, smart habits practiced daily. You see, there's a pattern to success. And just like there's a pattern to poverty, there's a pattern to prosperity. Those who rise financially don't do it by accident, they do it by intention. They make deliberate choices over and over that compound into wealth over time. These aren't flashy tricks or secret formulas. They're habits, practices you can learn, live by, and benefit from for the rest of your life. Now, I know what some people might say, but I'm just getting by, or it's too late for me. But let me tell you something. Wealth doesn't care where you started. It only cares about where you're headed. And no matter your age, your background, or your bank balance, the moment you decide to adopt the habits of the wealthy is the moment everything begins to change. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 8 powerful habits that rich people live by. These are the real game changers. If you adopt just one of them, you'll feel the shift. But if you adopt all 8, your entire financial future could be transformed. Not overnight, but over time. Remember, success is built by the inch, not the mile. Stick with me to the end, because these are not just theoretical ideas. I'm going to show you how to apply each one practically in your everyday life. No fluff, just principles that work, if you work them. And here's something else. I want to hear from you. Right now, before we dive in, take a second to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about helping you grow, not just your wealth, but your mindset, your habits, and your life. And while you're at it, drop a comment below and share your biggest financial goal. What are you working toward? Freedom from debt? Your first investment? Early retirement? Let's build a community where we support each other, where we speak goals into existence, and then go out and chase them with discipline. So, if you're ready to shift your thinking, change your habits, and build the life you've been dreaming about, you're in the right place. Let's get into the 8 smart habits you need to get rich. Wealth isn't accidental, it's intentional. That's the core message you need to understand if you're serious about transforming your financial future. It doesn't just happen to you. It's not something that lands in your lap because you were lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. Wealth is built brick by brick through the quiet repetition of smart, consistent decisions. It's not the lottery ticket. It's not the windfall. It's the little things you do every single day that add up over time. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day." That one line changed my life. I used to think success was complicated, that maybe I needed to know more, have more, be more. But that idea brought it down to earth. A few simple disciplines, not 100, not 50, just a few, done daily. Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, I worked hard, really hard. I believed that if I just put in the hours, eventually I'd make it. But something strange happened. The harder I worked, the more tired I got. And at the end of every month, I still found myself scrambling to pay the bills. I looked around at others who didn't seem to be working as hard, yet they had peace of mind, savings, investments, options. That confused me. Until one day, I came across a recording of Jim Rohn. He said, "Don't just work hard on your job, work hard on yourself." That struck me like lightning. I realized I was laboring for money, but I wasn't learning about money. I wasn't practicing the disciplines that build wealth. You see, the difference between those who struggle and those who thrive isn't always about how much money they make. It's about what they do with the money they make. 2 people can earn the same paycheck, yet one ends up wealthy while the other ends up broke. Why? Habits. One chooses to save before they spend. The other spends and hopes there's something left. One studies money, reads, invests in personal growth. The other drifts through life on autopilot. It's not about intelligence. It's not about background. It's about how you choose to show up each day. And that's the real message here. If you want to be rich, you've got to start thinking like the rich. Not flashy, not reckless, but deliberate, strategic, thoughtful. Wealthy people don't stumble into their fortune. They plan for it. They prepare for it. They plant seeds every day. And over time, those seeds grow. Slowly, yes, but surely. So if you're tired of the cycle, the paycheck to paycheck grind, the uncertainty, the stress, the first step is to stop believing that wealth is out of your control. It isn't. It's not about the big wins, it's about the daily disciplines. Let's explore what those look like, starting with habit number 1. The first habit you need to build wealth is simple, yet most people overlook it their entire lives. Pay yourself first. Before you pay the bills, before you buy the groceries, before you spend a single cent, pay yourself. Save a portion of every single dollar you earn. It doesn't matter how small that amount is. What matters is that you build the discipline, the mindset, the habit of keeping a piece of what you make. Think of your savings like your most loyal employee. If you owned a business and had someone who showed up early, stayed late, worked hard and never complained, you'd protect that person, right? You'd make sure they were taken care of. Your savings is that employee. It works for you around the clock. It never gets tired. Every dollar you save goes to work in your future, building security, freedom, opportunity. But if you don't treat it right, if you don't feed it, nurture it, respect it, it can't help you. Jim Rohn used to tell a story about when he first got serious about money. He wasn't making much at the time, just a few dollars an hour. But his mentor, Earl Schoaf, gave him a principle that changed everything. Start by saving a dime out of every dollar. Jim protested. He said, "But I'm barely getting by. I can't afford to save right now." Schoaf looked at him and said, "You can't afford not to. If you can't save $10 out of $100, you'll never be able to save $100 out of $1,000. That hit him. And from that moment, Jim made a commitment. No matter how little he made, he would pay himself first. At first, it felt small, almost silly. What's the point of saving $10? But that habit did something powerful. It gave him control. It told his money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It gave him confidence. Slowly, that savings grew. Then it turned into investments, then opportunities. That's how wealth starts. Not with big leaps, but with small acts of discipline, repeated consistently. Most people do the opposite. They spend first and hope something's left at the end of the month. But there never is. Because money, like time, disappears when it isn't managed. That's why this habit is so foundational. It's not just about the money, it's about what it says to your mind. When you pay yourself first, you say, "I matter, my future matters, my goals matter." That single act rewires the way you think about wealth. So starting today, make a commitment to yourself. No matter what you earn, no matter how tight things feel, save something, even if it's just 5%, 3%, 1%. Start small and let that habit take root. Because once you do, you're no longer just working for money. You're letting your money start working for you. If you want to build wealth, you have to know where your money is going. That's the second habit. Track every dollar. You see, most people don't have a money problem. They have an awareness problem. It's not that they don't earn enough. It's that they don't know where their money is going. It slips through their fingers like sand, and they're left wondering why there's never enough at the end of the month. But here's the truth. You can't manage what you don't measure. Think about it like this. If you were the CEO of a company and you had no idea how much money was coming in or going out, how long do you think that company would survive? Not long. Yet that's how many people run their personal finances. In the dark. They spend on autopilot, swipe the card without a second thought, and then feel shocked when the account balance is lower than expected. But money, like anything important, requires attention. It needs clarity. It needs management. So here's the practice. For the next 30 days, write down every single expense, every coffee, every gas fill-up, every online purchase, every bill. Don't skip anything. Carry a small notebook or use an app, whatever works for you. The point isn't to judge yourself, it's to understand yourself. You're creating awareness, and awareness is the first step to change. What you'll find might surprise you. You'll start to see patterns, little leaks in your financial ship. Maybe it's eating out too often. Maybe it's subscriptions you forgot about. Maybe it's impulse spending when you're stressed. Whatever it is, you can't fix what you can't see. But once you see it, you can make better choices. You take control. When Jim Rohn started tracking his spending, he said it was like putting on glasses for the first time. Suddenly, things became clear. He could see where his money was going, and more importantly, where it should be going instead. That single act gave him power. Not power over the economy or his job, but power over himself. And that's the kind of power that builds wealth. Now, I know it might seem tedious at first. Writing everything down, paying close attention, it's a shift. But remember, this isn't forever. This is a training period. It's a short-term effort for long-term clarity. After a while, the habit becomes second nature. You'll start to think before you spend. You'll make choices with intention instead of habit. The goal here isn't perfection. It's progress. It's about building a relationship with your money, one that's based on honesty, awareness, and responsibility. Because when you know where your money is going, you can start directing it where you want it to go, toward freedom, toward peace, toward your goals. That's the power of tracking every dollar. That's the next step on your path to wealth. One of the most powerful habits you can develop on your journey to wealth is learning to live below your means. This isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself. It's about shifting your mindset from one of spending to one of investing. It's about understanding the difference between looking rich and being rich. Because the truth is, many people go broke trying to appear wealthy, while those who are truly wealthy often live simply, quietly, and well below their financial capabilities. I once met a millionaire who drove a 10-year-old car. It wasn't flashy. In fact, you probably wouldn't have noticed it in a parking lot. The seats were worn, the paint a little faded, but it ran well and it was paid off. I asked him once, "Why don't you get something new? Surely you can afford it." He smiled and said, "I could, but I'd rather use my money to buy time." That stuck with me. He didn't see his money as something to spend for attention. He saw it as a tool to buy freedom. Freedom from stress, from debt, from working, just to keep up appearances. That's the mindset shift right there. Wealth isn't about the car in your driveway or the label on your clothes. It's about the options you create, the security you build, and the peace you enjoy. When you live below your means, you create a gap, a margin between what you earn and what you spend. And it's in that gap where wealth is built. That's the space where you save, invest, and grow. But most people do the opposite. As soon as they get a raise, they raise their lifestyle. A better paycheck turns into a bigger house, a new car, more nights out. It feels good in the moment, but it creates a trap. That's called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the biggest enemies of wealth. Because the more your expenses rise to meet your income, the more you stay stuck in the same financial cycle, no matter how much more you make. Living below your means is about taking control. It's saying, I don't need to spend everything I earn just because I can. It's choosing to value the future more than the moment. It's not always easy, especially when the world around you is pushing consumption, status, and comparison. But remember, you're not building someone else's life. You're building yours. And yours is worth the patience, the discipline, and the quiet strength it takes to say no today so you can say yes tomorrow. The millionaire with the old car, he didn't care what people thought. He cared about being free. And because he lived below his means, he had investments growing, savings stacking, and the time to enjoy life on his terms. That's the reward. It's not about living small, it's about living smart. And when you do, you open the door to lasting wealth, not just temporary comfort. If you truly want to build lasting wealth, you must invest in the most powerful asset you have, your mind. That's why the fourth habit is reading and learning daily, not once in a while. Not just when you're in trouble, but every single day. Because the more you learn, the more you earn. Your income will never grow past your personal development. And your financial life will never rise above your understanding of it. Jim Rohn said it best. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Think about that for a moment. School may teach you how to get a job, but it rarely teaches you how to grow, how to invest, how to think about wealth. That's something you have to take into your own hands. No one else will do it for you. You've got to become the student of your own life. You've got to feed your mind like you feed your body, daily, intentionally, and with quality input. Now, I'm not talking about spending hours buried in textbooks. Just 30 minutes a day can transform your thinking. Imagine that. Half an hour of focused reading, listening to an audiobook, or studying a subject that helps you grow. Over time, that small daily habit rewires your mind. You begin to see patterns others don't see. You start thinking differently, making decisions with more wisdom, seeing opportunities you would have missed before. I remember when I started this habit. It felt strange at first. I wasn't used to reading about money, mindset, or personal growth. But I made a commitment, 30 minutes a day, no matter what. And slowly, my thinking began to change. I started understanding why I made the financial mistakes I did. I learned about investing, saving, building value. And most importantly, I started believing I could do better. That belief was born from knowledge. You see, the world is full of distractions, news, gossip, entertainment. None of those things will help you grow. They might fill your time, but they won't fill your future. But when you choose to learn, you equip yourself with tools that can change your life. And the beautiful part? Most of it is free or inexpensive. Books, podcasts, videos, articles, the information is out there. You just have to want it. Every successful person I've ever met has this one thing in common. They never stop learning. They understand that yesterday's knowledge won't solve tomorrow's problems. They stay hungry, stay curious, and stay humble enough to admit they don't know everything. That's the mindset that leads to wealth. So start today. Pick up a book that stretches you. Listen to someone who's been where you want to go. Feed your mind with truth, strategy, and inspiration. Because the better you think, the better you live. And wealth always begins with the mind before it ever shows up in the bank. If you want to move from simply saving money to actually building wealth, you must learn the fifth habit: invest consistently. Saving is essential, but saving alone won't make you rich. It protects what you have. Investing, on the other hand, is how you grow what you have. It's the difference between storing your money and putting it to work. The wealthy understand this deeply. They don't just earn money, they make their money earn for them. Now, here's where most people get tripped up. They think investing is about timing the market or waiting until they have a large amount saved up. But true investors know that wealth isn't built by waiting, it's built by planting. Just like a farmer doesn't wait for the perfect day to plant his crops, you shouldn't wait for the perfect moment to invest. Start small. Start now. Then keep watering those seeds every chance you get. There's a saying in real estate: don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. The principle is powerful. It's not about getting rich overnight. It's about making small, consistent investments that compound over time. That's how fortunes are made. Through patience, through discipline, and through understanding the magic of compounding. Let me give you a picture. Imagine every dollar you invest is a seed. When you plant that seed, nothing happens overnight. You don't see growth immediately. But if you water it, feed it, protect it one day, that seed becomes a tree, and that tree bears fruit. The fruit then produces more seeds, and those seeds grow into more trees. That's compounding. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. It rewards the steady, not the impulsive. It rewards the committed, not the curious. One of the most important decisions you'll ever make is to become a consistent investor. Not an occasional one, not just when it feels easy, but consistently, no matter the season. That might mean contributing to a retirement account, buying index funds, or slowly building a portfolio of real estate or stocks. The vehicle matters, but the habit matters more. It's the act of investing, again and again, that builds momentum. Most people don't get wealthy because they keep waiting. Waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect investment, waiting until they feel ready. But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. Start where you are, with what you have, and let time do the heavy lifting. So if you're serious about building wealth, make a decision today to become a planter of seeds. Invest not just once, but regularly, even if it feels small, even if it seems slow. Because over time, those little seeds grow into something incredible. That's the power of consistent investing. It's not just about building wealth, it's about building freedom, and freedom is the real goal. If you want to build true financial resilience, the kind that can weather storms and support your dreams, you need to adopt the sixth habit: build multiple streams of income. Relying on one income source is like standing on one leg. It might hold you for a while, but eventually it wears out, and when it does, you fall. The wealthy don't rely on a single paycheck. They create options, they diversify, they build income streams that continue to flow even when they're not actively working. Now, I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow or start chasing every shiny opportunity. I'm saying start small, start smart, and start with what you already have. Most people overlook their own potential because they're waiting for something big. But the truth is, almost every business, every income stream, every breakthrough starts with one skill, one idea, one opportunity, nurtured, developed, and multiplied over time. I remember meeting a man who started with nothing more than a love for photography. He had a full-time job at the time, but on weekends he took portraits for friends and family. He wasn't thinking of it as a business at first, it was just something he enjoyed. But he treated it seriously. He got better. He invested in learning, upgraded his equipment, built a website, and slowly began charging more. What started as a side hustle turned into a thriving business. Eventually, it brought in more than his job, and when the time came, he made the leap, not out of desperation, but with a plan and a foundation. That's the power of a second stream of income. It doesn't have to replace your main income overnight, it just needs to exist. Because once it does, you gain something precious: options. And with enough streams flowing, you create financial independence. You create peace of mind. If one stream dries up, you're not devastated, you're prepared. There are many paths to multiple income streams. Some people start a side hustle, maybe freelancing, consulting, teaching a skill, or selling a product online. Others invest in assets that generate passive income over time, like rental properties, dividend stocks, or digital products. The key isn't the type of stream, it's the habit of building them. You look at your time differently. You stop trading all your energy for one paycheck and start creating value that pays you back in different ways. We live in a time where opportunities are more accessible than ever. The internet has opened doors that didn't exist just a decade ago. If you have a skill, a story, a solution to a problem, you have something you can turn into income. It won't happen overnight, and it will take effort. But the effort is worth it. Because when you build multiple streams of income, you're not just chasing money, you're building a future with more stability, more freedom, and more control over your life. That's wealth. If you're serious about getting rich, not just financially, but in mindset, discipline, and direction, then you must look closely at who you're spending your time with. Habit number 7 is simple but powerful. Surround yourself with winners. Because the truth is, your environment shapes your behavior more than you think. It influences your habits, your standards, your thinking. And whether you realize it or not, you're always becoming like the people you're around the most. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." That line isn't just clever, it's a mirror. If you want to know where your life is headed, look at your circle. Are the people closest to you pushing you forward or pulling you back? Are they inspiring you to grow or keeping you comfortable where you are? Do they challenge you to be better, or do they reinforce the same old thinking that's kept you stuck? I've seen people with great potential lose years of progress because they refused to leave environments that didn't serve them. They stayed around people who complained, made excuses, spent recklessly, and mocked ambition. And slowly, without realizing it, they adopted the same habits. Not because they were weak, but because environment always wins over intention. If you want to level up your life, you've got to level up your circle. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off or walking away from people you care about. But it does mean making conscious choices about where you spend your energy. It means seeking out people who are ahead of you, who think bigger, who live with discipline and purpose. Because when you're around people who are growing, you grow too. Their habits rub off. Their mindset challenges you. Their presence raises your standards. I remember a time when I felt stuck, working hard but not making progress. Then I started spending time with people who were building things. People who read every day, invested consistently, talked about goals and strategy, not gossip and problems. Just being around them shifted something in me. I started thinking differently, acting differently. I saw what was possible. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So here's the challenge. Audit your circle. Take a good, honest look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. What are they doing with their lives? How do they talk about money, about growth, about responsibility? Are they building or drifting? Are they making excuses or taking action? And most importantly, are they the kind of people who help you become the person you want to be? If not, it's time to make some changes. You don't have to make a big announcement. Just start spending more time in rooms where growth is the norm, not the exception. Find mentors. Join communities. Read the words of people who inspire you. Because the right environment doesn't just support your success, it demands it. And that's how you rise, that's how you win. If you don't know where you're going, how will you ever get there? That's why the 8th habit is to set clear financial goals. Not vague hopes, not someday dreams. Real, defined, intentional goals. Because clarity creates confidence, and confidence leads to action. When you know exactly what you're working toward, your efforts become focused, your decisions become sharper, and your progress becomes measurable. Too many people drift financially. They say things like, "I just want to be rich," or "I hope I can retire someday." But hope isn't a strategy. Wealth doesn't respond to vague intentions. It responds to clear direction. You've got to define what success looks like for you. Is it paying off debt, saving your first $10,000, investing regularly, owning a home? Whatever it is, write it down, name it, own it. Because when you do, your mind begins to search for ways to make it real. I remember when I first got serious about my finances, I was tired of just getting by. I wanted more than survival, I wanted freedom. So I sat down with a notebook and wrote 3 goals for the year. They weren't huge, but they were specific. First, I wanted to pay off a $3,000 credit card balance. Second, I wanted to save $5,000 in an emergency fund. Third, I wanted to start investing $100 a month into a retirement account. That was it. 3 simple goals. But something shifted when I wrote them down. They weren't just ideas anymore. They were targets. Every decision I made after that went through the filter of those goals. Did this purchase help or hurt my progress? Was I moving closer or further away? Month by month, the debt started shrinking, the savings account started growing, and that little investment started building momentum. I didn't hit every goal perfectly, but I made more progress in that 1 year than I had in the 5 years before. And it all started with clarity. You don't have to wait for the new year or some big life change. You can start right now. Take a few minutes, grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and write down 3 financial goals for the next 12 months. 1 short term, 1 medium term, and 1 long term. Maybe it's saving $1,000 for emergencies. Maybe it's starting a side hustle to earn an extra $200 a month. Maybe it's maxing out your retirement contributions or saving for a down payment on a home. Whatever it is, make it clear, make it specific, and most importantly, make it yours. These goals should excite you. They should scare you a little. They should stretch you and give you purpose. Because when your goals are clear, your actions begin to align. And that alignment is what creates transformation. Wealth doesn't just happen. It's built on vision, discipline, and follow-through. And it all starts with setting the goal. So don't drift. Decide. Declare. And then start walking in that direction every single day.